immediately enable V6. Okay, and as V6 addresses can be reached worldwide, anywhere from the world. Okay, you are a security person, it's okay, no problem, no big deal. The same thing can happen for the people. The same thing can happen as well in an office, for instance, where a Trojan is simply sending this router advertisement, and then each and every PC on the same subnet believes there is V6, but it's basically the Trojan which is doing it, and then all the V6 traffic is sent to the Trojan, can be intercepted, modified, and so on. And there are more and more V6 traffics coming. So that's basically a real problem, and that's what I say to a lot of security people. Please, even if you don't deploy V6, it's time to think about it. Really time. Other point with the transition, sorry. So not everyone can do dual stack, because dual stack is possible here when you get both V4 connectivity and V6 connectivity. But what if you are in another place where you have only V4, like at home? Then what you do, you use tunnels, like IPsec tunnels, but without crypto. It's basically you encapsulate, right? You have two islands here. So all the traffic going from the rightmost island to the leftmost islands, which is only V6, they need to go, for instance, over the internet, which is mainly IPv4 now, and even if most of it is V6 or enabled. Then V6 packets arrive at the router and they encapsulate it into an IPv4 packet, like an envelope, traverse the IPv4 internet, arrive at the other router, where the router remove and open the envelope, extract the V6 packets, and send the V6 packets to the left. Cool. Okay, it's working fine. If you think about the networking aspect, real fine. So now, the bad guy is there. He can simply do the same, okay? Put a fake IPv6 packet into an IPv4 envelope, spoofing the source address, and the destination is the left router. So the left router receives this kind of envelope, encapsulation, remove the IPv4 envelope, get the IPv6 packet, which is forged, and send it to the destination. Okay? So it can at least inject data. Because all those tunnels, and there are many of them, have no encryption at all. So no confidentiality, no integrity, no authentication at all. Okay? And of course you can sniff as well. Another one which is very interesting is Teredo. Alors, Teredo, what is it? Teredo, if you think about it, that's the beast which is there. Right? I mean, first time I've seen this picture, you really wonder what's this. That's a worm. Actually, that's a kind of a muscles or whatever. That's a shell. The white part is the shell part, right? But the main part of the body is outside of the shell. Very strange beast, but that's it. What it does, it's eating wood, and it's a sea worm, right? A small beast. Where do you find wood? In the sea, mainly in the hull of the good old ships, right? So it was drilling holes into the hull. So basically sailors doesn't like it. So now, one issue of the tunnels with V6 is that they are always encapsulated in what we call protocol 41. So now, if you have ever deployed IPsec, at the very beginning, I mean around 2000, IPsec was unable to traverse a NAT device because NAT only worked for TCP or UDP, and IPsec was neither UDP nor TCP. So it wasn't going through. They had to extend IPsec to encapsulate it into UDP, which could be transmitted by NAT. Same thing here. All the V6 tunnels are running natively over V4. So no UDP, no TCP, so the NAT can do nothing with it, so they drop. So Microsoft invented something which is called Teredo, right? Microsoft is a joke of mine. But basically it says all those tunnels, I will encapsulate it into UDP. Okay, so I can traverse NAT. So they were basically drilling holes through NAT. So if you think about it now, this is a usual, let's say, banking environment or whatever, where at the bottom you have the IPv4 internet, and on the top you have the IPv4 internet and the IPv6 internet. You put a firewall in the middle that basically says two things. My internal user cannot go to BitTorrent because I assume to work, and the people on the right, the bad guy, is not able to penetrate my network. So now, the PC installer software, which is mostly, I mean, a couple of us are using to download, of course, Linux and BSD, right? Nothing else. MicroTorrent. MicroTorrent, since last summer, is IPv6 enabled. Last summer, 2008, so it's in two summer now. And it's using this Teredo. So the guy, maybe he's installed MicroTorrent at home, to do it at home. When he was trying to do MicroTorrent at the office, it was never working. Now it starts working, because it's using Teredo, right? So it's going through the NAT, okay, to do BitTorrent. Not very good for the company. But even worse, as soon as there is a single opening for Teredo in the firewall or the NAT, then anybody on the internet, anybody, right, can use this hole to attack the PC inside, which can be used as a stepping stone. Okay? Microsoft has done a few things to secure it, but it's still a threat. And this is real, right? If you install, for instance, MicroTorrent since summer 2008 on an XP machine, it says, do you want to install V6? Because on XP, V6 is not enabled by default. On Vista, it doesn't even ask the question because it's already installed. Okay? And on the left-hand side, this is just to show you that there are multiple V6 peer. People do it, of course, to escape policy, copyright people, right? They don't, because all those copyright people that check what is downloaded, they can only do it for V4. If your download is over V6, you are not seen, right? You're invisible for them. Another transition techniques, it's not really transition to V6. It's mainly a way to address the exhaustion issue, right? In 2011, we have no more IPv4 address. So basically, people start thinking, right? I don't want to do V6 immediately because blah, 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 blah. I prefer to run an IPv4 network for a while. And some service provider will do this. So on the left-hand part, this is your home, right? With all your PC and your small router, what is a D-Link, Linksys, or whatever, which is doing that. Okay, to, I don't know, to Telenet or Skynet or whatever, which are an ISP or... Then the ISP will do in its core also a NAT function. Okay, you will be doing dual NAT there. This is called carrier grade NAT because it's a very big box. I mean, my employer hoped to sell them. It's about €1 million piece, so great for us. But then, because you will be able to share one IP address by multiple homes, okay, and each of these homes is sharing this already shared address by multiple PC. Then you have a couple of issues. I will focus mainly on the bottom one. So you share an IPv4 address by multiple subscriber. Okay? So now, how can the police, for instance, do something maybe we don't like it? LI, lawful intercept. Okay? How can the police can only intercept on the our end in our countries, right? So no problem here. Intercept the conversation of a potential terrorist without taping also any good people, good citizen, good subscriber in the same town, because all of them have got the same IP address. Challenging. If you want to keep the logs, right, to see, oh, this UDP port of this address was used at that point of time by this subscriber, you need to keep one line of log for each and every TCP connection from your subscriber. Okay, so invest in hard disk manufacturer. There's the time. Even worse now, we all know about the blacklist. Okay, when you say the reputation of this IPv4 address is bad. Okay, because this guy is sending spam, so he must be under control of a botnet. So now what happened if in one town, which is sharing the same, assume that all the customers, going back on one slide, all the customers of the same town, like Brussels, which is a big one, share the same IP address by this device. Right? All the people in Brussels having the same IP address. So now, what do you have? You end up with something like one bad guy in Brussels, and I'm pretty sure there are more than one, is enough to put the reputation of this IPv4 address down, and then every users in Brussels will be denied access in some website. Okay? Sharing the fate, which is pretty bad. Okay, just to finish quickly. So it was about the threat. There are many more. I don't have time in 1 hour to go through. On the other hand, right, people are aware of it, so all your service provider, all your